What is going on, everybody? My name is Danny Phantom. It is Tuesday, July 2nd. June just absolutely flew by. It's absolutely crazy. We're a couple days away from the 4th of July. I hope you guys all do something fun. Watch some fireworks while opening up Pokemon cards. You can do whatever you want. Hopefully you're doing something fun. Hopefully you're enjoying the summer so far. It is crazy to me how things change when it comes to the world of collecting Pokemon cards or buying Pokemon cards or the Pokemon card market or whatever you want to call it. The hobby evolves and changes so much. If you rewind time and go back a few years, so let's go back to September of 2020, for example. So this would be right before the release of like Champion's Path, right before really the giant boom of Pokemon. And I remember we're focusing on September of 2020 for a specific reason, but I remember ordering booster boxes in September of 2020, specifically XY Evolutions. I had several customers who were buying XY Evolutions at the time, and it was right around the time where XY Evolutions was starting to dry up. I remember ordering a certain amount of booster boxes of that. I remember ordering a certain amount of booster boxes of Burning Shadows, and at the time, XY Evolutions was 4 years old. It had released, I think in 2016, like October of 2016, so it was about 4 years removed from the release, and it seemed like there was just this endless supply of like XY Evolutions, and nobody really wanted it until way later in the game. Like at the time when it was almost completely sold out, that's when a lot of hype started building up. And if you remember, I think it was October of 2020 when Logan Paul did that big first edition box break, and really we just had this giant pouring of a ton of different people from all over the place enter into the hobby, looking at it as like a money grab, looking at it for various different reasons. Sports card investing got really big. Obviously the pandemic happened. It was absolutely nuts, absolutely bonkers. And if you're still here, if you're still around, thank you for sticking around. Obviously, things have changed a lot. We don't really talk about reprints or anything like that anymore because we don't really have to worry about them too much anymore. It seems like there's enough stock to kind of go around. It seems like there's enough to kind of fulfill everybody's demand. We're coming up to the point now where a lot of Sword and Shield products are running a little bit low, and I think a lot of people would still like to be able to buy some of those at decent prices, but they have been out for a while, and people did have the opportunity to buy them outside of Evolving Skies for cheap prices. Even Evolving Skies was down to, $90 a booster box at one point in time. I think it was like the end of the year in 2022 or 2021 when it dropped down to like $90 a booster box, and it was crazy. But we don't really talk about reprints too much anymore. However, I do think it is something that we need to kind of address. And I don't know, you can let me know in the comment section down below if you think Pokemon needs to reprint any items, because we're going to look at basically what we can order as a storefront. So we own a storefront, we own the cardcoliseum.com, and I've talked about that a lot in the past. I don't talk about it a whole lot, but it's very difficult right now because there's a lot of products that don't sell. We talk about releases, we talk about upcoming releases, things like that. There's a lot that comes out that just doesn't do very well. So we're going to look at an in-stock list and kind of go over what is even available out there, because right now it is very difficult as a storefront to be like, hey, what can you send me? Because the only things that really are selling right now to keep the doors open, a lot of storefronts are having to move over to One Piece or move over to some other card game, something to kind of keep the doors open, because right now it's kind of a struggle. But here is an email. You can see September 2nd, 2020. So this is 4 years after the release of XY Evolutions. I asked for, I think, 28 cases of XY Evolutions on September 2nd of 2020, and I got an email back. There was another customer who was promised 20 cases of Evolutions, so the most that they could do was 12. This was the end of this specific distributor's supply of Evolutions. There was no more available at Pokemon, at the Pokemon warehouse, and things have changed so much, right? Like the Pokemon warehouse is supplying big box stores as well. Right now we're at a point where Target, Best Buy, Amazon, Walmart, their online distribution centers all have booster boxes in stock. They didn't have this back then. The booster boxes did not sell well, so they only had marketing companies that were stocking the shelves in store, and then they might have had some products in online distribution, but not really booster boxes. So this was the end, 4 years after the release. If you look at products that came out 4 years ago, in July of 2020, we would have the entire Sword and Shield era still available today. That's how much things have changed. So 4 years after Evolution's release, then it started drying up. Then there was no more that were available. If you look 4 years ago, that would be like what? Cosmic Eclipse would probably be on its way out, basically. The end of the Sun and Moon era, you would have basically everything from Sword and Shield on, which is absolutely crazy to think about. But we're going to minimize this, and we're going to look at the actual, so this is the in-stock list over here. This is basically what we can order, and the problem is, Here's the problem right now. Booster boxes are few and far between. And until we get reprints, which we haven't gotten any huge reprint announcement or anything like that, it's very, very difficult to be a storefront, because you look at the products that are released, and Pokemon still does a really good job of pumping out products. They put out more products, I feel like, than any other trading card game out there. And it's a lot of more ancillary products. You have like the erasers, you have like the pencil cases, you have all these different collection boxes and tins and things like that that might have a variety of packs in them. And I think those do fairly well for them, because they're little gimmicks that people might be able to get, or a child might be able to get when they go to the store or something like that. But if you're a storefront looking at buying wholesale products and then turning around and selling them at close to MSRP pricing or close to retail pricing, let's start off just by looking at the collector's chest. So this is the Q4 collector's chest, which I think is the Charizard one. So I searched for it recently. So we've got the collector's chest right here. We've got the Charizard collector's chest somewhere in here. If we can find it, there it is right there. Okay, so the fall 2023 Q4 2023 collector chest right here. So I don't remember exactly what packs come with it, but I'm pretty sure it's fairly it's all like Scarlet and Violet era packs. And if you look at the price point on these, so the lowest one listed right now is $19.65. Now that's going to include shipping. It doesn't include tax, but it does include shipping. But if you look at the wholesale cost of the item, it's $19. So you're not going to go out to a distributor and you're not going to spend $19 on this item when it's only selling for $19.65. You also have to factor in, so this Midwest Cards HQ, they're going to be paying fees on top of this. So let's say, they have a TCG player account, they're a gold star seller, they might get a little bit better of fees because they're a certified hobby shop. I don't know exactly how it all works with a certified hobby shop, but let's say their fees are only 10%. So you're losing $1.96 just in fees. So that means this product is actually selling for $18. And then when you factor in the shipping on top of it, so let's say you send it ground advantage, and let's say it's somebody who buys it relatively close to you, or you have a fairly good deal with UPS or FedEx because you ship a lot. Let's say it costs $6 to ship. You're looking at $12 as your net. So you're losing, depending on how good your deal is with distribution, $6 to $7 on all of these. So you may be like, well, why bother selling it at that point? Well, the problem is you kind of have to. You can't sit on all this. Space is a big issue, right? And the fact that Pokemon continues to put out more and more product, you're going to continue to have to take more and more product in order to keep your allocations up for a future set, like the Team Rocket set or the Eevee set that's supposed to come out at the end of the year. Those are apparently going to do fairly well. So you want to make sure that you keep allocations up so you continue to order stuff like this. But also, you have to even take a little bit of a loss here and there because you have more products that are going to be coming. Next month, we have the release of Shrouded Fable. You have Edition Stellar Miracle, or whatever the next set is called after that in September. So there's a couple sets that are coming out, and you're going to have to pay invoices for that. So even if you're having to take a loss on some of this stuff, you still kind of have to move it over. And this is actually doing fairly well, considering the fact that last month it was selling for $17.37. Now the problem is it's not selling very frequently. So if you look on this, it's June 22nd, June 23rd. There were 3 of them that sold, but then 9 days went by before the next one sold. One sold this morning on July 2nd. Other than that, it was, it's been 9 days since the last sale. So it's not like it's a product that's moving fairly well. Then we've got the World Championships. You've got the Armorage Premium Collection. Let's look at that once and see how that's doing. So if we want to do that, the wholesale cost on that is $26. Well, it's selling for $24. So it's already selling for less than wholesale cost. And this is just on TCG Player. Obviously, you might be able to buy them by the case for even cheaper on places like eBay, or even like other social media websites. Even some specific game store online stores might have them for even cheaper as a case deal. So selling for below wholesale cost already. So then you bring to the point where, okay, well, let's just crack the product open and sell the pack. So you have the Armorage EX in here. So if you're looking at the Armorage EX, and this is something you kind of have to do and kind of have to balance as a storefront, you have the full art. Well, it sells for $3. Okay, so you've got $3 there. And then you've got 6 packs in here. So you're looking at 6 packs, and let's just say on average you get $3 per pack. So that's $18 there, plus your $3 full art there. That's $21. You got a couple couple promos here, you might be able to get $22, $23 out of it. So even breaking it down doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So then a lot of storefronts are in them, but well, okay, well, I guess we'll just sit on it for a while and see if prices change. But this is what you go through trying to balance. Okay, well, I want to be able to fill up the shelves. I want to make sure that I have stuff that people are going to order. Otherwise, you go to a website, like let's say you go to the Card Coliseum right now. We got tons of products on the Card Coliseum, tons of them available, but a lot of stuff that just is unsellable, a lot of stuff that people just don't have interest in. So if they want, maybe somebody out there wants the Armorage EX Premium Collection box and they're willing to pay, wholesale cost for it, a lot of people aren't. So that you don't, when you go to the website, you're not specifically looking for that. Maybe you're looking for a specific single, or maybe you're looking for some of those sets that are a little bit more difficult to find. You're looking for some Sword and Shield era stuff. You're looking for Fusion Strike or Chilling Reign, or really anything that you can find that might have, even if it's a collection box, that might have a Sword and Shield pack in it. And right now, there's just nothing out there. So you have the 2023 Back to School Eraser. Well, that's, I think, just Paldea Evolved and Scarlet and Violet base. You have the Battle Academies, which don't sell very well at all. And then you have a lot of battle decks that are available, the Kangaskhan or Greninja. Here's a Brilliant Stars booster box right here. You can buy those. A lot of times distributors will still have some of those that are left over. Maybe they didn't send them all out because they were worried about shipping issues or anything like that. Usually they're going to keep a few cases just on back stock, so that way they have them available just in case something happens in shipping. I've had it happen before where, a pallet gets destroyed or something happens, then all of a sudden the storefront needs to recuperate some of whatever it was that was damaged. And a lot of times distributors will have some that are left over so that way they can fulfill those orders still. But a Brilliant Stars booster box, $159. Well, it only sells for like $170, $180 if you look at TCG Player, and even those sell few and far between. So you could be, as a store, order that, and you might be able to turn that for $1 or $2. But other than that, you have the Pokemon Classic, you have the Roaring Moon or Iron Valiant collection box. The Roaring Moon one wasn't bad because it does have a very playable card in it. But if you look at, let's just say Roaring Moon collection box, that's not it. Roaring Moon, let's do Roaring Moon box. And see if it, okay, right here. So Roaring Moon EX box, that one comes up, it's $21.82. You have $14 on this one. So that one does have some potential as far as something that sells, but again, not something that sells very frequently. So you're looking at June 20th, June 22nd, and then 8 days go by, and then you finally have another sale at $21.73. So you're looking at $14 for the box. Now the caveat is when you have the ore right there, that Roaring Moon or Iron Valiant, the cases come in a collection box, or the cases come in a sealed case of 3 of each collection box. So you're getting 3 Roaring Moon and you're getting 3 Iron Valiant. It's not like you can only order the Roaring Moon. So you could be like, hey, I want to order 50 Roaring Moon boxes, and the distributor's going to be like, well, I can give you 6 sealed cases because they come 6 per case, or I can give you 10 sealed cases and you'll get 30 Roaring Moon and 30 Iron Valiant. So that makes things a little bit more difficult because the Iron Valiant isn't going to be selling as well as the Roaring Moon because the Iron Valiant isn't as playable as the Roaring Moon. But even so, when you break it down, let's just say, again, 10% fees, $21.73. So you're looking at $2.17. So automatically, this goes down to a $19 sale with $14. Then you factor in the shipping costs that go behind it. And let's say you just, like I said, use Ground Advantage or something like that, $4 to $5 for the shipping costs. So you're actually netting about $15, we'll say, profit on the box, or $15 total on the sale, which is only $1 profit per box. That's not even including like supplies or taxes or things like that. So basically, at the end of the day, you're looking at a break-even product. And again, it's not selling quickly enough to really make it worthwhile to have in your warehouse. So when you're looking at different things that you can buy, you've got the Combined Powers collection box. That's a $37 box, so that's a little bit more expensive. Well, Crown Zenith doesn't sell too bad, but these are the ones that are Crown Zenith that don't sell too well. So the V-Union boxes of Morpeko, $27 for the Premium Treasures collection box and $23 for the Playmat box. I think the Playmat box has like 5 or 6 packs. And then the Premium Treasures box, I think, has 7. But even if you break that down and you look at just the pack price, there's not enough there that really warrants it. You've got a Darkness Ablaze booster box here for $141. The Cyrus or Clara Tournament Collection box. If we look at that, the Cyrus Tournament Collection I think those do okay. I can't even spell collection box. $27.29. You have a sealed display here for $88.78 is the market price. $102.64 is the lowest listed, but your wholesale price on that is $86. So when you break it down, you're getting 4. So you might be able to make this work a little bit, but again, you're not looking at a whole lot of sales. So do you really want to add a bunch of stuff to your inventory that doesn't move? So we have another sale on this for 4 days, and before that, June 26th, there was a couple that moved, $27.93. When you break it down, you have to buy a display, so that's 4. So you get 2 of each. You're breaking it down. I mean, that's not even, that's $22 a piece, roughly $21 a piece, roughly, when you factor in shipping and fees and stuff like that. Is it really worthwhile? I don't know. So this is what storefronts have to do and look at. And when you're looking at the opportunity for reprints, and specifically, it's only a couple of products in the Scarlet and Violet generation that are doing really well, and that's Paldea Evolved booster boxes, and everything that's Scarlet and Violet 151. But there's nothing on here that looks like that. So you've got energy cards here. You've got some Pokemon Go items that are still available, the battle decks, and then the Dragonite V-Star Premium deck holder, which they printed an absolute ton of. You've got more League battle decks. You've got the holiday calendar from 2023, and that's not really a product that's going to move fairly well in July. You can buy a Lost Origin booster box, but that's $200, which is a little bit more than even market price right now. Mew VMAX battle decks. You've got the mini portfolios right there, but the mini portfolios are just a small one-up binder with a singular pack inside. So you only get 12 packs. So 12 times 3, you do the math. That's only $36. You're not really selling the mini portfolios by themselves for anything more. You've got the My First Battle, which is a cool product, but it's not really worth the order right there. You do have some Obsidian Flames, but even if you look at booster boxes, which are doing well for the Scarlet and Violet era, so booster boxes aren't doing poorly anymore. Let's look at Obsidian Flames booster box right here. So you have the Obsidian Flames booster box currently selling for $104. So we're at a point now where pretty much every Scarlet and Violet era booster box is starting to sell for triple digits. You're looking at $104.19. But again, still, once MSRP went up with the release of Scarlet and Violet, wholesale costs also went up. So you might get a little bit of a break on this if you buy a lot. You might get a little bit of a break when a booster box set first comes out. But $97 if you want to reorder. $104.19 is the going market price for it, and you can buy them even cheaper than that. Like if you buy by the case, obviously $608. That's only $101 per booster box if you break it down by the case here. So $97, not really worth it there. You do have build and battle displays, build and battle stadiums, elite trainer boxes, which do okay, but you're still elite trainer box, $31 there. It's only selling for $37.18. Then again, you still have shipping that you have to worry about when you factor in the cost of shipping is, $7-8 if you're just using ground advantage. So then that's another basically break even product. You do have some Paldea Evolved products, build and battle displays, build and battle stadiums, elite trainer boxes. There's a pre-release kit there, which isn't bad. And then you have tins. You have Paradox Rift booster boxes, which is a little bit better. That one's selling for $95. Scarlet and Violet base booster boxes. That one's even a little bit cheaper at $93. But this is all that's left. Then you got Temporal Forces at $97. But other than that, so you don't have any Paldea Evolved booster boxes right now. There's no Twilight Masquerade booster boxes that are in stock. And there's no Scarlet and Violet 151 products at all. So for Twilight Masquerade, for example, all you have left available right now at this specific distributor. This is just one distributor, so don't think that this is the case for every distributor that's out there. But Twilight Masquerade Check Lane blister cases and Twilight Masquerade Elite Trainer boxes, and that's it. That's all you can really order right now as a storefront. So as a storefront, you're constantly like, okay, well, what do I order to entice people to go to my shop or entice people to come to the store or fill the shelves? And then you start looking at other trading card games because there's not enough products that are in demand right now that are available. And that's why you had this time at the back half of 2020, right before we went into the pandemic, where a lot of storefronts were trying to order Pokemon cards, but there weren't enough to go around. And you saw a lot of storefronts that don't typically order Pokemon that started buying, that turned away from Pokemon because it wasn't doing well. So they bought a lot of Magic, they focused on Yu-Gi-Oh!, and that's what their client base, that's what their customer base kind of wanted. And because of that, their allocation numbers that they did end up getting for Pokemon cards after the boom happened ended up being super, super low because there just wasn't enough demand for the current in-stock products, so they weren't getting ordered. But when you look at the products that are available, and this is why Pokemon is a lot of fun, but I wish they would do things differently. Like, a lot of products that they put out there are not in demand enough products, and I feel like they only put out products for the sake of putting out products. And I'm not saying they need to go back and they need to reprint stuff from Sword and Shield. Like, that stuff is done. Like, I get it. Like, let's move on from that. But Scarlet and Violet era stuff, while there is still some booster boxes that are available, there's just not enough demand. And that's part of the way that the market is right now. And now the fact that people are like, well, I want Paldea Evolved. Unfortunately, there's just no Paldea Evolved available to order right now. Well, I want Twilight Masquerade. That was the most recent set. There's just not any Twilight Masquerade that can be ordered right now, unfortunately. Well, I want Scarlet and Violet 151, ETBs, or booster bundles, or collection boxes. Well, unfortunately, there's just none that are out there right now. And there's still a bunch that might be, you know, getting stocked in stores. There's still a bunch that might be in different marketing companies that are filling Targets and Walmarts and places like that. But that's a whole different distribution channel. And this is what a lot of storefronts are looking at. And unfortunately, there's just not a lot out there that makes sense to order. So it's gotten to the point where a lot of stores are just like, okay, well, I'm going to pass on pretty much all the collection boxes and only focus on the stuff that's actually selling. And right now, there's just not a whole lot out there. So I kind of want to just talk about the backside of things and what storefronts have to go through when they're looking at products to order. You might go to your store and you might be like, well, why don't they have any Sword and Shield stuff ever in stock? There's never any Brilliant Stars or Silver Tempest, and part of the reason is that, yeah, there's some Silver Tempest in here, but not enough to fill the shelves. Or Astral Radiance, there's nothing left for Astral Radiance. When you look at a distribution center, when you look at wholesale costs, and all the Scarlet and Violet era stuff just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and it doesn't move fast enough to warrant housing it all when you've got all these constant releases coming out that you're figuring out allocations for. So I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. Leave a like. Leave a comment. It goes a long way for the algorithm, but ultimately just thank you for taking the time to talk to me about Pokemon. I just love talking about this stuff. So I love you guys. Thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow with another video. Until next time, peace.